So, apparently there has been a little change that was nonchalantly inserted into the Eurovision rules. And it all comes down, I mean, not a whole lot is changed, but it comes to the actual presentation of the votes. So, as you know, as of 2016, it happens that way that there's a set of jury votes and a set of televoters, and then they add them up at the very end. First, the juries give their points, right? Each spokesperson from each country calls in. The points 10 to 1 show up on screen, and the 12 points will be announced by that spokesperson. At the very end, they will add the televote points in chunks, right? They will ask, they're not going to ask anything, but they will first announce the country that finished last in the televote. So with 0 points, it's Germany, and then with 17 points, it's Australia, and so on, right? And then work their way up to the top of the televote. So that is all almost kind of happening. However, there is a slight change in the way it's being presented. Let me bring that up on screen here real quick. However, there is a change in the presentation of the votes. The order in which the televoting results are revealed will now be determined by the ranking of the jury results. So the announcement of the televoting results will start with the country receiving the fewest points from the juries and end with the country that received the highest points from the juries. The presenters shall announce the sum of points that each song has received from the votes of the televote across all participating countries. You don't know what that means? Well, let me take you through this just a little bit. It is actually very easy, but I want you to see and read this because it's a little bit to digest. But basically what that means, it is similar to what we had so far, and the juries do their thing, right? They announce it, they say it, and at that point, we had the jury results in. So let's use 2018 as an example. In 2018, Austria received, and could be off a few points, but about 90 points with the juries. They were like in 13th place, something like that. And they were last in the televote. So they would then first say, with 9 points, it's Australia. Now going forward, we will not hear that. So Australia will not be the first one to be announced. And that's where the change is happening. Now, if you remember, Ukraine actually was last in the jury vote, right? They were last. Melovin did not impress the juries, I should say. Certainly impressed the televoters to a much bigger extent. So instead of going down from the last place in televote, they're going down the jury route. So since Ukraine was last in the jury vote, they will say, okay, currently in last place with the juries is Ukraine, and they received from the televote 130 points. I don't know how many points they received, something like that, right? So then they'll add those 100 and whatever points to Ukraine, and they climb up in the ranking. Then they talk about Portugal, which I believe they finished in second to last with the televoters, if I'm not mistaken. Then they say Portugal, currently in, second fewest points with the juries, currently sitting at 30 points, receive another 19 points from the televoters, So they work their way slowly up to the top. And that is very interesting in that sense that, if you recall, Israel finished third in the jury vote, but it was the televote that ultimately catapulted Netta to victory. So, actually, her points will then be announced third to last, and she was third. So once we work our way up to the top 3 of the jury vote, Israel, currently in third place, with the juries, received 205 points. Again, I'm just ballparking here right now. And here is the televote. 317, something like that, and then boom. Then they add that up, and you see Netta currently in first place with 529 points. Can either Sweden or Austria catch up to her? Let's find out. And we all know what happened there. Sweden got 21 points or something like that, so you can see like, what? But at that point, you may not know that this is actually going to happen, right? Because you don't know if they received 21 points unless you're a crazy, diehard, insane fan and you've realized you see all the points that are available. You write it down on a piece of paper and you subtract it as it's happening. Then you'll know about 15 seconds before the rest of the country how many points are left. But the vast majority of people will not know how many points are left in that pot. So Sweden, Austria, neither of them got more than 100 points in the televote, but we don't know that as they're being announced. So that's basically the change that they implemented. They're going down from last jury to first jury announcement rather than from last televote to first televote. That is the difference. Now, this has not been done before, and I don't think that has been done in Junior Eurovision either, because they often use Junior as like a guinea pig to see if things are working or not. So before you can ask questions, by the way, about this system, your thoughts, questions you want me to answer at ESC United, very important. But I'm trying to think this through, and I don't know how this is going to make a huge difference. I mean, it's exciting. Anyway, I guess the only thing is what they're maybe trying to avoid is having like a Poland 2016 or Italy 2018. Like, even though they are doing really well on the televote, you know they're not going to win. So you're not sitting there like, well, yes, they're still in the running with the televote, but they're not going to really finish at the top of the list. So they maybe try and make it even more exciting. I'm trying to visualize that there is already actually a video on YouTube I saw this morning doing the 2018 results using the new voting system.
United Kingdom with 25 points.
Hungary with 65 points.
You should check it out. It's pretty cool. They put a lot of work into this. So it gives you a little bit of an idea how this would all go down. And it's really cool. I like it. I don't know if it really adds to the suspense. Because, you know, all the countries being announced on the jury side last, you know that they have no shot anyway. But, yeah, it is very interesting. Lucky12 is saying, that's kind of cruel to the artists who will flop with the televoters, because I'm pretty sure they will capture their reaction. And that is a very good point to make, and I forgot to mention that. I hope they will not capture every single reaction of the acts. Yes, us fans, we want to see that, but you have to do the whole, you know, Oscar fake applause. Like, you know, you're Meryl Streep sitting there, and you're not going to win the Oscar, and you're just like, and the Oscar goes to Emma Stone. And you're like, good for her. Yay, I'm so happy for that bitch. You know, it's just like you have to fake it. So they have to put on the facade. And it's a very raw, emotional moment if you don't do well at all. I don't know if this needs to be captured on camera for being burned into, you know, the YouTube scene for the rest of time. So that is, to me, not necessarily I would desire to see that they show every single face. So hopefully they can do that still, the whole slow down the results thing, but not show each and every participant and their reaction, because that is cruel. I would agree. That is very, very cruel. Sabrina DeVolder is saying, with the new system, do you really need to pay attention to know who won the televote? No, you don't. That is actually, in that point, irrelevant. All you care about are the points that are being received, right? Ukraine not last year, 2016 is a great example where they didn't win neither the televote nor the jury vote. And it comes down to just the gathered points together. And I like that it's less about where you rank, but how many points you get. But it's very difficult for me to envision it. I need to see it once. Again, I watched that video on YouTube where that one user put this all together. It can work. So I have to wait and see. But it's a very interesting. I'm surprised they changed it up so quickly. We've been doing this for what? 3 years in a row, and they felt already the need to change it up. I mean, the voting itself doesn't change. It's just a presentation. Keep that in mind. There's no changes to the actual points or allocation of the points. It's all about the way it's being presented. Nikolai Mahler, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He's saying, I think the new voting system could work very well, but I hope they will show the overall televote score in the end after the winner is announced. Yes, it would be nice if they show that, you know, as like, let's say, I don't want to pick a country because people get always upset. So Canada wins again, right? I always use Canada as my example. Canada wins the Eurovision Song Contest 2019. And then as Celine Dion does like, yay, I won, you can then, and making her way from the green room to the stage, they can then put the televote results on the side, potentially even both rankings, right? So you have like a minute, because, you know, it always takes like a minute or two for the act to work the way to the stage, and then they cry and all that stuff. So you have a little bit of time to show all of that. I think that would be a really cool way to at least have it there, rather than us having to wait and go online and check the results. It should be part of the whole show. So I completely agree with that, and hopefully they're gonna put that into place. So this is very interesting. I am curious to find out how it's all going to turn out. It's very, again, I'm surprised that they just put it out there rather than testing it out with Junior. That's usually their go-to. But hey, it all could be worse, right? I'm really, really interesting. Alice Wonder is saying countries that did really well with the televote, example, Italy 2018, will be lost in the ranking. They should be celebrated, and the audience should know that they came third. And that is a very good point to bring up as a counter argument for what we were just talking about. I think it has also its cons, because Italy, who got like, what, 50? I don't remember how many points I got in the jury vote, but not that many. If we announce them all of a sudden, okay, here is Italy with 248 telepoints, they may be temporarily at the top of the actual ranking, right? Because with 248 and they had like 60, let's say they're like at 300 something, that could potentially put them in first place overall at that point. So I'm sure they're going to show them on camera at that point, so they get their little moment of glory, if you will. But I don't think that it is as impactful, because you know that they are not going to win. So, or at least, I mean, technically they could, right? But I'm wondering if this new system is more exciting for casual viewers and less exciting for diehard fans, because we know if a song after the televote and jury vote is currently sitting in first place with let's say 400 points, we know that they're not going to win. It's very, very difficult to win the contest with 400 points. Usually every winner has 500 or up when it comes to winning. It's possible to get lower points, but it's less likely, right? It's very unlikely. So if you have over 500 points, then you can start thinking, okay, this may win. But anything lower than that, us diehard fans, we already, you know, excluded that one from potential victory. While the casual viewers like, okay, I don't know all the points and how that all being allocated. Just something else to kind of think about, right? So I'm withholding full judgment until I see it in place for 1 year, and then we'll go from there. I understand what they're trying to do. It's not as big of a deal overall, I think. I'm just worried, as you were just pointing out, Alice, that some of the ones that don't do well as in the juries, but really well in the televoters, that they're being overlooked as well. They're not going to have a shot anyway, and therefore their moment in the spotlight is being taken away because of that. So that is very interesting. Emma W. is actually also saying she thinks that the new system will make the results less suspenseful. I like the system they've used in recent years. It makes it really tense at the end. So this is a very interesting. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, again, I just sound like a broken record. Let's wait and see it once, and if it's going to be more or less exciting. Because then you know what country will be announced next when you go in voting or in the ranking order of juries, right? When it's just the televoters, you don't know which country will be announced next. So here you know what's up. And on paper, it sounds less suspenseful to me as well. But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. That's all I'm saying. That's all I am saying.